Hello everyone and welcome to Grandma's Handbag. Great to be with you, great to have you with me. Yeah, really glad to be back. I feel like I haven't been around all that often. Some of you might be grateful, but anyway, we have a CD roundup this week. Haven't done one of these for a little while. They've been pouring in as they usually do, so I'll try and keep this short and sweet. The handbag is back, done with the boxes for the moment. Not that I'm averse to boxes, let me just make that clear. So yes, we got a Spinner Winners CD roundup. Alright, and as I say, first things first, Grandma's Little Helper. I'm just going to have a sip of this. I've been waiting for this for quite a while. And this is, well, it's the business, I have to say. This is one of my favourite beers. If you can see that glorious old time label there. And now look, I'm going to butcher the lovely German language. All apologies to Diana from Digging in the Crate. This is a Ex-Schlenkerla Rausch beer, and it's a Marzen style. So a Rausch beer is basically a smoked malt beer, and you get this really intense but lovely sweet smoke in the beer, and yeah, it's very, I wouldn't say intense, it marries well together, but it's very, very idiosyncratic. I think this is one of the best breweries in the world, I would say, and certainly has made its name from Rausch beers. Anyway, I won't say that any better after I have more of this, let me tell you. It's a beer I always think of. If you like Islay single malt whiskey, you know, your Lafroigs, your Lagavulins, Ardbegs, but you're in the mood for a beer, have a look out for this beer. Great stuff. Alright, just in the background we've got playing Mr. Williams. Hopefully I don't get a YouTube copyright violation for this, but sometimes I feel like it needs to be a little bit of something in the background, you know. Otherwise it's the talky man's voice that just keeps cutting through and through and through. Alright, as I said, Spinner Winners CD roundup. I know it's not everyone's favourite, especially in the vinyl community, but these are too good not to share. That's my basic viewpoint on them. So let's dig straight in. I'll try and keep these short and sweet, and I've sort of tried to theme them roughly as well, make it easy. Just picked this up today, the Sunday's Blind, 1992. That sort of dream pop, gauzy shoegaze, very feminine vocals, very nice stuff. And again, in the same boat, we have Mazzy Stars. I think this is their third one, Among My Swan, for 96. And yeah, look, I still love, I mean, Fade Into You is an absolute classic, and So Tonight That I May See is great too. This is growing on me though, I have to say. I should also point out the majority of these CDs were $1 Australian, no more than $3 each. Majority were $1, so you know, 80 US cents or 60 pence or 70 euro cents. So I really can't complain with that at all. Keeping on the 90s theme, very, very happy to pick up Yo La Tengo, I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One. This is sort of a companion or a sister album to one of my favourites. So there's the And Nothing Turned Itself Inside Out. So this one is really, really lovely. You know, 60s Beach Boys. Yo La Tengo are all over the shop, and then you've got those sort of alt-rock moments on here like Sugar Cube and Deeper Into Movies. There's cinematic, soundscapey, Stereolab stuff. All over the place, but really, really good. In the same vein, just found a lovely single that I can never pass up. One of my favourite, not lesser known, maybe unheralded bands. Galaxy 500 single 4th of July with a cover of, I don't know if we can see that here, of the Velvet Underground's Here She Comes Now. And if anyone's made a career out of one Velvet Underground album, it would be Galaxy 500 doing Velvet Underground self-titled third. And I don't, look, that to me is not a bad thing, you know. Dean Wareham's guitar, I can listen to him noodle all day long on it. It's just something that he does in there. Okay, next bunch are going down to a bit of a roots here end. So Miles Davis, Amandla. This is one of the last ones he recorded, and I haven't actually popped it on yet. So 1989, you got Miles Davis on the back there, looking very, very curmudgeonly. But looking forward to that. This one, don't need to say a lot else. This is definitely classic Miles. Gil Evans on there, orchestrating in that as well. Very subtle, soft, lovely playing. Alright, here we have another jazz impulse label, Sonny Rollins, East Broadway Rundown. Now, I haven't heard this one, but you can't leave a impulse label there at all. I'm getting a vibe that I'm trying some new lighting here, guys, so I'm thinking there could be too much glare going on here with these, so I really hope it doesn't impact it too much. Ave Henriksen Cartography. So look, it rains ECM at the moment. It's incredible. And the label alone, I couldn't leave that behind. Again, haven't heard this, but I'm raring to go to put this on. Fantastic stuff. Hopefully. Well, it should be anyway. Alright, this one is a CD and DVD pack. Bruce Springsteen heading up the Sega sessions, We Shall Overcome. So I'm guessing from here there's a lot of folk topical songs, especially ones covered by Pete Seeger. The fold out there. See, I don't know about you guys. Do you guys like this sort of packaging? The you know, bifold or trifold paper sleeves. To me, I can't get enough of them. You know, you compare them to a jewel case. I find jewel cases the most uninspiring thing, and look, maybe they do wear a little better than the paper sleeves, but can't you see this guy here? He basically wants to be a record, but he's been born in a CD body. So how can you not like that sort of, you know, cardboard tactile packaging? I love it, absolutely love it. Which is good, because the next one I got here was an absolute steal. Dave Van Ronk down in Washington Square, and this is a Folkways, Smithsonian Folkways collection. 3 CDs. There's Mr. Ronk in all his glory, early 60s glory there. 3 CDs worth of Dave Van Ronk. I've started listening to some of it, and yeah, inspiring stuff. Seminal and inspirational on, you know, anyone else that you want to mention from, you know, Bleecker and McDougall. Alright, keeping on that tip from the 60s, Fairport Convention's self-titled debut. Now, always wanted to listen to this just because to see, I heard some very funny things about it, and what I could say is it's very, very interesting. If any people know later Fairport Convention, they became very much a English folk folk rock band, you know, electrified English folk songs and things. Here is quite a different vibe. You've got this kind of 60s English, not music hall, but, you know, a gigging band feel, a dance band almost. And you've got it via the US West Coast, that nascent Grateful Dead and jam band feel going on there. Not to mention that you've got 2, 3, even 4 tracks here. I think there's 2 covers of Joni Mitchell. There's Leonard Cohen's Suzanne. So it's really, really interesting. It's this kind of West Coast America, English, not quite folk, but you could see they were trying to get there. So quite a surprise, and that definitely a keeper. Alright, and the next one, in a very similar vein, an extremely influential album. There's not much more I need to say about this. Already have it on vinyl, but can't give up the CD copy for $1. Alright, this one I've heard things about over the times. We've got Lloyd Cole and the Commotion's Rattlesnakes as a classic 80s pop album. And I'll definitely say that it's an 80s pop album. Classic, it didn't grab me. I can see there's some quality songwriting on there, but it was very, not clinical, but it was very crisp and calculated and almost a, what could you say, a academic exercise in pop. Don't get me wrong, there were some great tracks on there. Perfect Skin was a nice one. Title track was a lovely one. Are You Ready to Be Heartbroken's one I've been wanting to hear for a while. But again, it just didn't quite grab me. I might have to give it some more goes. If anyone's a fan of Lloyd Cole, maybe you want to point out where I need to be searching for the best of Lloyd. Alright, another 80s album, very unassuming, but very, very interesting, and I think it's a keeper for me. Ed Cooper's Electrical Storm. I think this is mid-80s, 85, 86. Ed Cooper being the guitarist out of The Saints and the Laughing Clowns. Yeah, it's I think it's a winner. Very understated, you know, like short, sharp, punchy, good, clean arrangements and songwriting, great playing. Yeah, definitely a winner on that one. Alright, we got a trio of 70s ones here as we head towards a close on this. Bruce Springsteen, The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. I'm pretty not new to Bruce, but I haven't delved that far in, so this one here, quite an interesting listen. You can definitely tell he's finding his feet. Very interesting. You got 7 tracks over 40 minutes, more or less. So each song really sort of gets into a mini epic territory. You know, most of them are 6-7 minutes long generally. So very, very interesting. It started off a little slowly, but I mean, there's some great stuff on here. Incident on 57th, Wild Billy's Circus Story too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to definitely going further into Bruce's early stuff. And with a nice segue into Bruce, just came across this today too. The Roaring Silence, Manfred Mann's Earth Band. This is 1976. And of course it starts off with the classic Bruce Springsteen song, Blinded by the Light. And I think that's about the best that this album gets, unfortunately for me. It's interesting academically, listening and you know, seeing sort of what's going on, but in a way I would say it's an album like this. I don't mean it a great disservice, but this is a sort of album that would have brought punk along in England, to my mind. You know, there's a lot of noodling away on synths, prog synths and things like that, and I won't deny the title track alone makes it worthwhile for me, but there were some wait there's a yawn in my ear. Even the title itself to me suggests a kind of disinterest. So yeah, to me I can see why Punk might have wanted to give the proggers that were a little complacent a good kicking, you know, and shaking up the order. So I suppose they wanted to give this guy a bit of a kicking as well. Now, is there anyone out here that will vouch for Hot August Night? I'm going to vouch for it. I'm going to say, if there's one Neil, I think one should or will allow themselves to have, if I can put it that way, it's got to be Hot August Night. It's a great performance. There's showmanship in there. The songs are great. It's a movement of a night. Look, it's one of my dad's favourites, and I grew up sort of appreciating it. I can see where Neil can fall off into mawkishness, you know, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and then heading on later into the 80s and that. But Hot August Night, I can't argue too much with it. Alright, I got a couple of very odd ones I just want to share with you because I really like the idea of them. Two versions or two episode CDs of volumes. There we go. That's why didn't I say that before? 2 volumes of a field guide to Australian birdsong. Now, it just kind of makes me very happy to know that these sorts of CDs exist for the Bird Observers Club of Australia to have. What I've found, where I have CD 9 and CD 4 here, 9 CDs worth of birdsong. So there's clearly people out there, you know, twitchers, bird watchers, ornithologists that love to hear these things. I just find it fascinating, you know. You see a lot of record curios, people finding these things, but CDs, maybe not so much. So with that in mind, I had to pick them up. And why not, you know. It's really good stuff, that beer. Can't praise it enough, really. Is it a Grail beer? Is it in Grandma's top 10? It's up there, I tell you. All right, the last one, and this is my pick of the week, is these, and I'll see if I can fan them out in some dramatic fashion for you. But if you can see that, we have pretty much 5 of the first 6 albums of Tom Waits from the 70s. Starting off here with Closing Time, The Heart of Saturday Night, Nighthawks at the Diner, then we have Small Change and Blue Valentine. What a sterling catalogue. What an amazing piece of work. And, you know, I think a lot said on the VC about Tom Waits. To be honest, I haven't been a huge fan over the years, but to hear these albums in this way is just fantastic, to actually sort of chart a progression of a career. And we all know Tom Waits now, but to me there was always this idea of the two sides of Tom Waits, and it was everything up till if not Blue Valentine. There was maybe one album after, which I can't think of now. You never can you, on video? But then, so you got phase 1 from the early 70s, Closing Time, up to Swordfish Trombones, which is phase 2, which is loosely, you could say, he's been in ever since that time. So I'd had a lot of exposure, or more exposure, to Swordfish Trombones and Rain Dogs, Mule Variations, and on into the 2000s. And I do remember friends playing, if it wasn't Blue Valentine, I'm pretty sure it was Small Change. And I actually thought, well, the song The Piano Has Been Drinking, Not Me, I honestly thought that this guy was a joke. He was having a laugh. He can't be serious, you know. But yeah, I honestly thought with that voice that it was just a comedy act. But over the years, obviously, I've learnt better. And now to hear them start with Closing Time, and then hear his, you know, arguably you could say his songs improve and his voice degrade, is quite an interesting exercise, quite moving in a way as well. But to round it up, if I have to pick one of those favourites, I'm actually going to have to go with Closing Time. There's something about this album as being a bit of old, you know, show tune Americana writing, classic songs and things. And his delivery is just lovely. I mean, to me, the opening 1-2 of Old 55 and I Hope That I Don't Fall in Love With You is just absolute knockout punch, you know, and that won me over from that on there. And his voice is sweeter, and the emotion he conveys is just incredible, you know. It feels like it could be out of this Hollywood movie in the 40s or something. That kind of, you know, nostalgic noir and so much feeling in there. But Closing Time, that's my pick. If you guys have a favourite out of these, Harder Saturday Night, Nighthawks at the Diner, Blue Valentine, Small Change, let me know in the comments. As well, if you vouch for 80s Tom Waits or 90s Tom Waits, let me know your favourite albums there as well. I'd love to hear, because I'm sort of on the verge of a lot more Tom Waits in my life as well, which is never a bad thing. Anyway, cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, for subscribing. Fantastic. Really appreciate everyone who's been able to watch and comment and that. So cheers to you. Cheers to Grandma's Handbag, and I'll see you soon.